Max Verstappen struggled to find some good pace in the 2025 Mexico City Grand Prix because he was struggling to find the appropriate amount of mechanical grip. That's why he qualified P5, but due to some great racecraft and a pair of balls, he managed to convert the P5 race start into P3, a podium position. So let's go ahead and look at how he got those two positions. This is the race start. The video is uploaded by Yale Listener. Big shout out to him. Go ahead and give him a subscribe. I have linked this video below in the description. So this is the race start. I have to mute this because I'm going to be talking over it. So right now Max Verstappen is P5. Towards the right over here is Osama bin Russell. I'm probably blocking that view. And ahead of him is Lewis Hamilton. Ahead of Lewis Hamilton is Lando Norris. And on the right side of Lando Norris is Charlie Charles. So let's go. The race begins. Verstappen gets a good launch relative to other, remains behind Lewis Hamilton, uses the toe to overtake Osama bin Russell. At this point, he is P4. The telemetry, which is hidden for the first lap because of the incidents, which will happen in a few seconds of time, the telemetry data showed that Verstappen was P4. Yale Listener, like this creator, he shows it in the video, so go ahead and check the full video out. And now Verstappen is P4. He continues to have the good momentum, and at this point Lewis Hamilton has snuck in the inside line of Charles Leclerc and is getting towed by Lando Norris. Max Verstappen is on the outside of both of the Ferraris. Now he has gap. He has gap over here, but let's see what happens when Leclerc tries to and starts to close the gap, right? So right now Lewis Hamilton is ahead of Max Verstappen. Let's go ahead and see how Verstappen gets that position. So Verstappen continues on his merry way, and you can see he just boom at this stage of this track, not at this stage, a little bit behind here. When Leclerc was moving across and the turn was coming up, Max knows better than anybody that he won't be able to stick on the outside. He knows that there is Charles Leclerc on his inside, and he knows that Leclerc is not a bitch who's just going to move over and allow him to, make the overtake from the outside. At this point, Max knows that the move around the outside is not going to happen. Norris is going to take a tighter entry into turn one to protect his position, and obviously because of that all of the other drivers will change their approach while exiting turn one to make sure that they don't make any contact. Max knows this better than everybody. He has the best racing experience, I would say the most racing experience except for Lewis Hamilton in this gaggle of cars, so he should know. But he also knows that he can orchestrate an incident. He can make it look like he was shoved off track conveniently in a place where there is grass runoff, there is no gravel trap, there is no wall. Very convenient. And this is what I'm talking about. This is why Max Verstappen is the GOAT. He has the ability to orchestrate a situation in which he makes it look like he was shoved off the track. He had a bit of a locker for good measure, so makes it look even more realistic. And obviously at this stage, he deliberately brake-legged. The amount of pace he is carrying right now, he is not going to make that corner. Even if there was no other drivers here, from this position with this pace, he's off, like he is outside of the racing line clearly. He's also off the track. He's bottoming out. The bottom of his car is getting dragged across the curbs. He knows better than anybody that he is not going to make the corner with this pace. But he also knows that this is lap one, and he has done enough to make it look like he has been pushed wide. That's why he went for a move that was never there, chops across the grass, cuts two corners, not one, turn 2 and turn 3, and rejoins in the exit of turn 3 in a very efficient way. He didn't join it in the middle of the track over here. He just cuts it close to the PWC barriers, as close as possible. You can say that Max Verstappen probably rehearsed this on his simulator at home. He probably did that. Now he just, checks a little bit towards the right. There goes Charles Leclerc, who himself cut the second corner. Charles Leclerc cut one corner, Verstappen cut two. Leclerc cut one corner and got ahead of Norris, and then you will see Norris go in, and then Verstappen will join in P3. Then here is Lando Norris and his P3. So Max Verstappen doesn't relinquish any position because in his mind he is P3. Because if you look at the side-by-side situation a few seconds before here, in this particular moment, he was, you can argue that he is still P4 here, but here he is definitely at least P3 in his mind. So when he is pushed across the track, not across the track, he's shoved off the track, he's pushed off the track, he easily does a little bit of rallying and rejoins behind. There goes Leclerc, there goes Norris, and here is Max Verstappen. Boom, P5 to P3, mission done. Leclerc concedes one position. Leclerc also made up two positions. He overtook Lewis Hamilton and Lando Norris by cutting the second corner, and he only relinquished the position back to Lando. He could have maybe in theory relinquished the position to Lewis Hamilton as well, but now there's Max Verstappen in the middle, so obviously you're not gonna lose two places, because that sounds counterproductive. Max Verstappen will be very happy if that happens, but unfortunately that didn't happen. So Leclerc, he made up one position, but Max Verstappen, because he's the GOAT, he's the greatest of all time, with his aggression and his, amazing abilities of car placement. And he does this everywhere. Anytime there's an incident like involving Max, we are not done. I'll talk about, I'll go on the monologue in a few seconds. But then right now Verstappen is P3, so he loses the position to Lewis Hamilton, because Hamilton puts in a good move and kind of catches Verstappen by surprise. So here, Leclerc is right ahead, and you will see Lewis Hamilton make the overtake. He will just go from the inside. Verstappen is checking his mirrors, but right now it's too late to defend. So Lewis will come in and steal the position right now. As you can see from the outside, there goes Lewis Hamilton. Max Verstappen getting a little bit boxed. So here, Max is boxed because Charles is ahead, so he cannot just release the brakes and take the apex first, because there is a car in front of him. And obviously on the outside there's Lewis Hamilton, and there is clearly plenty of enough space. So you cannot just do anything erratic here. So he has been caught a little bit napping, and it's a great move by Hamilton. And then Max Verstappen himself goes ahead and retakes the position by playing a little bit of bumper cars and doing the same exact thing he did in the first lap, like from the opening stages of the race. So in the opening stages of the race, as we just saw a few minutes ago, Verstappen made it look, he orchestrated an incident in which it looks like he got pushed off the track, which kind of justifies him cutting the corner and remaining in the position that he cut the corner in. And the same thing is going to happen again. So ahead is Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen in closing in, faster rate with DRS, sends it down the inside. And this is another issue with Lewis Hamilton. Why didn't you close the inside line? Like, it's unbelievable. If you leave a little bit of gap to Max Verstappen, he's going to send it. You started P3, you had a bit of a difficult start, but somehow you got the position back from Max Verstappen. Why are you not defending for life by hogging the inside line? So Lewis Hamilton, bad job from him. He shouldn't have left this gap. And this is a trend with Lewis Hamilton. Sometimes he does this. I have seen this. I've created a video about this a long time ago. I will talk about this in some other video. So anyway, Lewis Hamilton, shabby defense, leaves a gap. Verstappen goes through. Obviously he's going to send it down the inside because he wants to win more than anything. So he releases the brake, turns in late. He does the same old tactic. So if Max Verstappen has the inside line and you're on the outside, it doesn't matter if you're ahead, he's going to run you off. He's going to do it. And he does it by very accurate car placement. He remains within the track, within the confines of the track. He keeps two tires in on the tarmac. The other two tires can be, outside of the white line, to make sure that his opponent gets very thoroughly pushed off the track. That's exactly what we are seeing right now. Max Verstappen is just on the limits of the track. Lewis Hamilton, because he is Lewis Hamilton, was not afraid to play bumper cars. But now again, Max had to, go to the right to, make sure that he doesn't get a puncture or anything like that, because it's going to ruin his race as well. So he needs to go to right. He's gonna go right, and Lewis tries to do the same thing, and Max knows that Lewis is gonna do the same thing, so he deliberately, despite being ahead, he just goes cut this corner once again and makes up the position again of Lewis Hamilton. So as we will see again from the heli shot, like not the heli shot but a different view. So Verstappen, bad job by Lewis Hamilton for leaving the gap. Max goes through, play a little bit of bumper cars, does the classic Max Verstappen defensive maneuver, does the Verstappen as Leclerc calls it. Now this time Max could have turned it in here, but he would have to slow down a bit more, and as a consequence of that, he would have lost the position. Lewis Hamilton is always fair in terms of giving, space, but Max Verstappen knows it, and he has again here done enough to show that he got shoved off the track. I'm pretty sure on the radio he's screaming to, Jean-Pierre Lambia say that I have been pushed off, and when he goes off the track, he is ahead of Lewis. So obviously he's going to rejoin when he is ahead of Lewis. You know what I mean? So now he is ahead of Lewis, cuts the corner, and then rejoins ahead of Lewis. So this is also another phenomenal move, and this is the mindset that you have to have. Otherwise you are not going to convert a bad day when you don't have pace, you don't have grip, you're struggling to, make sense of the car and everything else around it. You cannot convert that type of a shitty day into a podium. If McLaren drivers don't feel comfortable in the car, it's P5, P6, P7, that type of position. That's true with most of the drivers on the grid, probably like most of the drivers in the history of Formula One. But Max Verstappen is the type of guy that he always, he is very opportunistic in the sense of creating opportunities. He knows how to create situations in which he can push the boundaries of the rule, push the boundaries of how the rules are interpreted and applied. And he also analyzes the past mistake, because this is the lap 1 turn 1 incident. It's very interesting of how Verstappen did the lap 1 turn 1 incident, because he knows that the stewards go soft, and he knows that if he makes it look like Max, like if he makes it look that Max Verstappen got shoved off the track and all this type of things, then like more power to him, right? It gives more credibility to his case. And you can see in this very short, at 36 seconds, you can see the front left of Max's tire is locked up. He is, starting to brake, and obviously in this part of the track there is no grip compared to the tarmac, so he is locking the front left, which also helps his case. He can say that I locked up, lost the car, I was shoved wide, there's 4 wide, how can I maintain the position? I was shoved wide and I couldn't brake. And credit to him, that definitely contributed to this. And again, like I said, he does it every time there is a restart. He did it in 2025 Formula 1 season in Jeddah in Saudi Arabia. Oscar Piastri had a great start, and Max Verstappen deliberately, went off track to keep the track position. He was given a 5-second penalty, but fortunately for Piastri, Verstappen was not able to just keep running away. So fortunately it worked in the favor of Piastri. It is what it is. The point that I'm trying to make is this is why Verstappen is the greatest of all time, and this is why he's going to go ahead and win his 5th world title. Oscar Piastri is off form. He is not finding confidence and pace in the car. The pressure of Verstappen, the pressure of ending the season with a high, the pressure of being quick and be on speed right from the beginning, right from the moment you jump in the car, that pressure is getting to him. That's why he's making wrong setup decisions with his engineer, and that's why his speed is getting shot. Max Verstappen, on the other guy, he's great at handling these type of situations, as we have seen in the past, and that lives with the another guy, Lando Norris. This guy's not going to beat him. Pound for pound, if Max has pace, he ain't beating him. So they don't call him Max V for no reason. He's going to win the 5th world title. 5th in a row is coming. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.